What's up, everybody? This is the Black Panther Wakanda Forever review. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is an absolute masterpiece or it's the best movie ever, but what I will tell you is that this movie is really good given the tough circumstances that they had to deal with in making this film. Now, the director, Ryan Coogler, he wrote the script with Chadwick Boseman in mind as the lead role as T'Challa. Tragically, Boseman passed away. Rest in peace to him. They had to work with what they had. Coogler really, under those circumstances, made a really good movie. I think it was just a brilliant job, dealing with that. So this movie really does explore the process of grief, and it really shows, the different characters in the movie going through this process of grief and how they deal with it differently on their own. Like you have Shuri, who is, burying herself in her work and, trying to keep T'Challa off of her mind because every time she thinks about her brother passing, it torments her. So she really just tries to stay busy and keep her mind occupied on, working on technology and things like that. The mother, she found a way to, reach T'Challa and kind of feel his presence, and it comforted her and helped her heal. And then you see Nakia, who decided to leave Wakanda and be on her own and give herself some time to breathe on her own and mourn T'Challa in her own way. So this movie does a good job of showing the process of grief, and you really feel it as the viewer. And you can relate to them because we all felt devastated when Chadwick Boseman passed away, and we can really relate to the characters in the movie as they're going through the grief. And I think when the movie starts and they kind of explain how T'Challa passed away, and they kind of show you a little short part about how it's happening. I think they just they did a good job starting off like that because it needed to be addressed. If they're not going to recast, they had they needed to address what happened to T'Challa. Now the introduction of Namor and his people I thought was done very well. It was really interesting. They had a scene where they introduced the Talakan people, and they're taking out these Americans who are looking for vibranium in the sea, and the Talakan people, just take them out. It's like a horror movie scene, basically. And you just see these blue people coming out the water. At first, I was thinking about Avatar. So yeah, it was very similar to that, but it was like a horror movie scene because they have like this sound that they project that forces people to just start walking toward the water, and it's just crazy, like the way that they filmed that. I really like that part, and they do a good job of showing off how powerful these people are, their abilities, what they're capable of. And then of course you see Namor, who is a step above even his own people, and he's able to fly and all that. So just a really good job of introducing the Talakan people. We get to see the backstory of Namor and his mother and how he came about, and it explains how he's half human and he's able to have a little bit more abilities than the other people. So they do a good job of explaining that. I do wish that we could have got a little bit more exploration of his background and actually see it rather than him just explaining it in the movie, because it's just, to me, I like to actually see the development of the character rather than just them explaining it and then we get some flashbacks. But I still think considering everything, they did do a good job of introducing Namor, and also they did a good job of explaining his motivation as to why he wants to do the things that he's doing in the movie, as the main villain. The visuals were amazing when they showed off Talakan, where Namor lives. It's like an underwater empire. They do a great job of showing that off. It's beautiful. The costume designs are really, really well done. I like them a lot. Like I said, at first they looked like avatars to me, but really good, really well done with the costume design. So we also get introduced to Ironheart, and we get to see her for the first time in this movie. And I think she was a cool character, very charismatic. Some funny scenes in the movie. Her intelligence is crazy. The fact that she was able to build uh, this machine that it threatens Namor's people, because it helps find vibranium outside of Wakanda. That was just off the charts to me. Like she's able to build all this and stuff like that. I had no idea about the Ironheart character, so that was uh, a cool surprise for me to find out like she's that smart. Another thing I have to say here is Angela Bassett is absolutely amazing as Ramonda in this movie. She does an excellent job just, relaying the emotions, the anger, um, just being a leader, like just the way she does everything in this movie. Like the acting is just really really good, so on point. Maybe maybe a nomination, an Oscar nomination in the future. Who knows? But she did a really good job in this. I do have to say Shuri's character, um, overall did a really good job being thrown in the as the main, like the new main character basically. She did a really good job, because in the first Black Panther she's more of a side character, and in this one, she has to become a much bigger character with a much bigger role. And I think she just does a really good job. Like I said about Angela Bassett, she portrays, she shows the emotion really well. You really feel it. She sells it, and just a really good job as someone who was a side character now, being a main character like this with a much bigger role. I think she did as good as you can do. Again, they weren't really expecting this to happen, but everything ended up, working out really well in my opinion. I thought this is the best that they possibly could have done under these tough circumstances. So, a lot of credit goes to Ryan Coogler. I mean, just amazing. It just shows you how good of a filmmaker he is, because it's a tough hand, like he was dealt. Yeah, this movie is really character driven. It's more of a slow burn, so I know that that's probably a negative for some people. People want some more action packed, fast paced movies, but this movie is really more focused on the characters and developing them, and showing how they're dealing with grief. So it's definitely a slow burn. But me personally, I don't mind it at all. I really do like movies that are building up the characters and focusing on the characters. So I didn't mind it. I thought the action was really good in this though. Like I think the action is better in this movie than in the first one. The CGI is a lot better than the first one. As you know, at the end of the first Black Panther movie, that fight scene looked like it was straight out of a video game. So definitely a lot better in this. Like I said about about the negatives, the movie could have been a little bit shorter, but or if not shorter, they could have explored Namor's background a little bit more and actually showed us um his development rather than him just explaining it through flashbacks and things like that. Um, I would have rather it, seen it happen throughout the movie. But I think overall they did a really good job. Like I've said, a million times in this video probably. But yeah, I'm just impressed with how it turned out, because honestly, I didn't have the highest expectation. I mean, I don't think a lot of people really did, because you know people are saddened by the loss of Bozeman, and that's fair too. Like I don't blame anybody that had low expectations for this movie, but they pulled it off. So that's my review. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please let me know what you think about the movie in the comments section. And yeah, just remember, it's just my opinion. And yeah, thanks for watching. Later.